There is always a reason for a couple to ghost or just disappear. That reason, though, is sometimes within our control and sometimes not within our control. So I think one of the easiest ways to stay resilient when it comes to ghosting is to actually understand ghosting a little bit more. So when it comes to couples ghosting you, what I mean by ghosting is a couple inquires and they have a call with you and they totally disappear, or they inquire and then they never respond, or they DM you and then they just never respond. So I think the more we can understand it, the easier it is to manage and deal with. So there's things we can do when it is in our control, and there's things we can do, there's nothing we can do when it's not in our control. So some of the most common things or reasons that couples might ghost or disappear that are in our control are, number one is being difficult to communicate with or to schedule with. So one rule of thumb that I talk about a lot on this channel or in my business is these 1 to 3 sentence emails. When you're emailing a client or you get an inquiry saying, hey, where are you getting married? Or having very, very easy to answer communication with them. I also recommend calling every single inquiry that you get on the phone. I know people think that's crazy, but that has been the number one key for me to book more weddings and to get more responses from couples. It doesn't mean you have to do a full consultation call, just like calling them on the phone to say hello. So being really, really easy to deal with in terms of scheduling things. So when you go to schedule a consultation call, I like to use HoneyBook's scheduling feature because they have a calendar where you can just predetermine slots and then couples can come in and just book a slot. So taking all the legwork out of saying, hey, are you available this time, this date, or this time, that date? So all of that takes time, and the more time it takes, the more less and less likely you're going to book a client, because when they first inquire, those first few hours is really your chance to boost them from interested to extremely interested. And then in the following days, you can convert them to a booked wedding, or you can lose them altogether. So the timing is really important. As a wedding couple, if you're a couple, you want to feel like the person you're doing business with is just easy to work with, and making that, creating that feeling for them is really about simplifying the process as much as you possibly can. I think when people get ghosted, there's kind of a panic feeling that sets in, and then you start to analyze all different aspects of your photography business, and there are some things that you could be analyzing that is not a result of ghosting. For example, your website copy or your work or your editing style. Those kinds of issues would be issues that are stopping you from getting leads. So likely if you have a couple inquirers with you, there was nothing about your website copy that they made them no longer respond, because they're not reading your website copy after they inquire, they're reading it before. So making sure that you're analyzing the parts of the business that make sense. There are some things that I think don't make sense, and they are website copy, editing style, portfolio. Unless you send a gallery link once you have a call with them that's not in line with your portfolio. Everything that's communication based after they inquire or call, those are reasons that could be ghosting. But your Instagram strategy is not what's causing a couple to ghost, because they're no longer interacting with that once they have inquired with you. It's more so a lead generation thing. So if you are getting ghosted, looking at things like the things I just mentioned or the things listed here are probably not what could be preventing it in the future. It's really communication based or things that you were doing after they inquired with them. I just wanted to touch on that because I don't want you to be steered wrong or be focusing on the wrong things. Okay, and then these 3 things are things that are totally not in our control that happen. So when you share a little bit about pricing and it ends up being outside their budget, or they just had a better connection with another vendor, or they looked into other vendors and they liked something better, that is totally outside of our control. That's the market being the competitive, beautiful wedding industry market that it is. There's only so much we can do, and we are always putting our best foot forward. But there is only so much you can do, and there's only so much control that you have. So that is going to happen no matter what part of the industry, in the luxury industry or the mid-tier industry or anywhere you're at, there's always going to be competition, and those things are not things that you can control because that's part of being in a competitive industry. So I think there's also a mindset shift that needs to happen if you are a business owner that is getting ghosted and you're feeling really defeated about it. I think focusing on the positive in any area of your life is, one of the best things that you can do. But also being realistic about conversion and what it looks like. So a healthy business in the wedding industry usually converts at about 25%. So that means you are losing 75% of the people that come to you, and that's healthy. So understanding that it's natural to feel like 75% of the time you're losing clients when that's a healthy business, because that is how competitive the wedding industry, at least in this area, is. And that is just how couples plan their weddings. They inquire with a lot of vendors, so conversion is very low. It's not the same as going to the grocery store. So there's so much that goes into these decisions that they make for this big day in their lives that as a vendor, the conversion is really low. So being really realistic and tracking your inquiries. I use an inquiry tracker, and I keep all my conversion rates calculated in there if I booked yes or no. And then when I have 9 or 10 no's, I'm like, okay, I'm due for one because this is not normal for me. Or if I have 4 or 5 yeses, I'm like, okay, so this is likely statistically about to drop. So my next 4 or 5 calls, I'm probably not going to book them. If I do, that's great. But just statistics wise, right now I'm on an up. Sometimes I'm on a low. Sometimes I'm like, oh my God, there's been a whole month of everybody's booked. But as a whole, 25% is a good annual number to kind of stay at. And there's ways to boost that number. I teach in my course, Consultations That Convert, how to boost that number. So if you're feeling like you want extra help in that, I have it in the description down below. But just going back to that mindset shift, trying to stay positive and take each ghosting or no response as an opportunity for growth and things you can learn, while also being realistic about what is realistic for you and your business in the market that you're in. So if nobody has told you lately, I believe in you and your wedding photography business. Make sure to subscribe if you're a wedding photographer. And next week, I'm going to talk more about this and some other things, and I will see you there. Thanks so much for watching.